Welcome back. You're watching The Money Show on ET now, and it's time for our Spend with TMS segment. Today, we decided to talk about the latest camera phone that's being launched. And I say camera phone because that's what seems to be getting all the emphasis and importance nowadays in the world of technology, and more specifically mobile phones. The latest entrant is the VIVO U20. To talk about this, whether it's worth the buy, whether it's the best among all the triple rear camera phones, I have with me Shubham Gupta, founder and chief editor of techquark.com. Shubham, thank you so much for joining us on The Money Show. So the VIVO U20 is the latest entrant. First up, is this something that you would consider buying? Do you like the features? What exactly are, all the little nitty-gritties of the phone that you think make it a good one? And what is it, by the way, that you dislike as well?
Right. Yeah, thanks, Mubina, for the question. So, VIVO U20 was recently launched just last week in India, and it's a predecessor of the U10 series, which mainly aims at young folks who are looking into too much of specifications and what they get for their money. VIVO U20 retains a lot of things from its predecessor U10, which includes a 5000 mAh battery as well as a triple sensor camera. However, it has a lot of nitty upgrades as well, like a new processor, Snapdragon 675, a better display with more pixel density, as well as better camera sensor both at the rear and the back. The build quality of the phone was great, and if you are a gamer, this is a high performance phone. We played PUBG Mobile on this with high frame rate and HD graphics, and it didn't lag or stutter a bit. We also played some casual games like Tennis Clash, and it worked quite well as well. Talking about the hype of this phone, the triple camera sensor. So the primary sensor, the primary camera takes decent photos in daylight. The photos are sharp, crisp, and very punchy, I would say. The exposure levels are not that great, but it's still great for the budget devices. So if you ask me, the U20 checks all the boxes, but there is a small thing which I like to mention is that U20 is a classic example of the number of cameras on a phone gimmick. Why I say that is because in most of the budget phones, I am seeing that the primary camera sensor, the primary camera is only decent. The other tools are mostly of a show off. So with this phone, if they would have not introduced the other two sensors as well, my review would have been the same. If you want a real triple sensor camera, I would advise we need to look into the flagship phones, because budget phones are doing it as a gimmick as of now. That's my take on the VIVO U20.
Shubham, well, firstly, you've really caught the attention and the fancy of all the PUBG gamers out there. And secondly, my second question was going to be that what do you make of this whole triple rear camera, and is it really the best? I mean, which one really now stands out? But clearly, I think you've dissed that a bit. So is that really the case? I mean, all the phones that are out there, I mean, this is just definitely one of the many that have already been launched. But do you really think that when they try to promote it as a triple rear camera, it's really not worth the buck? Or is there one brand or one phone that really stands out for having a great triple rear camera?
So let's to answer this question, let's first understand what you get out of a triple sensor camera. So the first thing is you get a high resolution image, because there are three sensors. They combine together the image. You get a better resolution image. You can take more low light photos because there are more apertures to capture the light. You have much better zoom capability because there is a dedicated zoom lens as well. The images are more stabilized for the high definition images which you take, and the most important is the bokeh mode, wherein you take portrait photos and the background gets blurred and the person gets into the focus. Apart from that, you can also take wide angle selfies or the wide angle photos as well. Now, to understand all this, the basic lies in the AI of the camera, how it uses all these camera. So if I say the U20 doesn't have bad cameras, but it needs to be smart enough to utilize all these cameras, because there's a lot of complex algorithms and logic which has to run internally to give you the most out of it. And Samsung has done a phenomenal job. So if you ask me, the triple sensor camera king is the Samsung Galaxy S10 or the S10 Plus, and not distinct far is the Huawei P30. That's in the flagship devices. In the budget devices, if you ask me, sub 20K range, I would suggest the Galaxy M40 and the Huawei 20i. They are the budget devices, but still in the sub 10 category, sub 15 category, I still feel the triple camera sensors are more of a gimmick, and you won't end up doing a lot with them. That's
Okay. All right. Okay. So there's the pics that Shubham does have. If you still want to go in for that triple rear camera phone, very quickly then, Shubham, people are really drawing comparisons of the Vivo U20 with the Redmi Note 8 and the Realme 5S. We saw the price comparison as well, just maybe a 1,000 rupee difference. What's your pick from all three?
So yeah, recently the sub 10K category has become a popular price segment where all the manufacturers are giving great phones with great specifications. So as I said earlier, the Vivo U20 checks all the marks which we have for the great performance and great hardware, except the camera. So the Vivo U20 and the Redmi Note 8 have great displays. However, if you want a very good camera phone, you can go with the Redmi Note 8 or the Realme 5S. Between the Redmi Note 8 and the Realme 5S, the only difference is with the battery and the display, where Redmi Note 8 has a better display quality, whereas the Realme 5S has the bigger battery. So if camera is the priority, then the Redmi Note 8 and it has a great display. If battery is a priority, Realme 5S. If camera is not a priority, then definitely Vivo's U20 is the best for your pocket.
All right, and all these phones, by the way, are releasing this week or today. They'll be going on sale as well. Thank you, Shubham, then, for joining us on this very timely discussion. And of course, you have the Black Friday sale, more popular in the US, but hey, it does not stop a lot of Indian retailers as well for going for sale. So do check all of these phones out. Thank you, Shubham, once again. With that, we'll wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching this episode of The Money Show.